2016. 2016 is when I was reviewing the Lord of the Rings series with my friend Steve. And we never got to the third one. We never got to it. Finally, after all these years, I finally got the chance to review the third Lord of the Rings movie, Return of the King. And, you know, I seen these series before in college, and I rewatched them again. And it's, you know, the third installment of the series is just like the first two installments. For me, solid. And I'm going to review it on this episode of Movie Breakdowns. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What is Movie Breakdowns? A movie review series. We look at new and old movies, give them a grade, A through F, plus and minuses do count. And if the review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below, and I get to it as best I can. Also, you're watching it on Facebook and YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, and also please like and subscribe. Well, I guess you're gonna give it a thumbs up, so that's liking. But please subscribe, and if you got something you want me to review, please comment. And I appreciate you for doing that. Also the Patreon.com/Ali Zakka, and on the Patreon you can jump in front of everybody by request wherever you want. My Patreon is only $2 a month. I review it because you're paying for my services. Shout out to Tyler Phoenix, who requests a lot of reviews. He jumps in front of everybody with his request because he's paying for my services. So that's Patreon.com/Ali Zakka. And now let's go ahead and get into today's review of Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And what is this movie about? It's the final conclusion to the Lord of the Rings saga. It's Sam and Frodo are trying to take the ring to Mount Doom and throw it into the volcano. While they're doing that, Gandalf and Aragorn are fighting with, I should say, the forces of good. It's fighting against Saruman and the forces of evil at a city that I believe the name of the city is called Minas Tirith. I believe I got that right. And for the most part, my thoughts on this movie is it's solid. It's a solid movie. Like, to me, honestly, to be honest, I like being honest with you guys. You guys get my whole heart coming from this. Lord of the Rings never really hit hard for me, and every time I watch it, I think the reason why it doesn't hit hard because it's just good movies, like good story. The CGI is from 2000. This movie's from 2003, by the way, and I'm watching it in 2021. The CGI is still solid. Like, the animation making the hobbits smaller than the, you know, regular humans is freaking phenomenal. You sometimes forget that, like, yeah, you know, Elijah Wood is not that small. And I like that. I like the fact that the animation still holds up to this day. Freaking Smeagol, he is still good looking, still solid. Like, he doesn't distract from the movie for it being made in 2003. It's solid to me. I think the CGI holds up well. The storyline doesn't need to be as long to me. This movie is 3 hours and 21 minutes. I didn't watch the director's cut. I just watched the normal theatrical version. And yeah, this movie is 3 hours and 21 minutes long. And I felt it at certain points in time, but I was like, it's the conclusion. They put everything into it. You know, at least it flows well. At least the storyline, and there's no plot holes where you question, like, okay, at least everything is, for a movie being 3 hours and 20 minutes long, everything is fleshed out. So therefore, you're not like questioning, like, well, how can this happen in the movie? How can that happen in the movie? Well, why is this going on? Why that's going on? It lays it out, so therefore you're not like questioning every single thing. The one thing I did question was the Eagles. how they picked up Frodo and Sam at the end of the movie. And by the way, this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings 3, go watch it. It's from 2003, but I feel like everybody has watched Lord of the Rings at least one point. But this is a spoiler review. But at the end of the movie, the Eagles come and pick up Sam and Frodo from Mount Doom, and I was like, well, why didn't they Eagles fly them there? And my friend Steve was like, who's a big Lord of the Rings fan, he goes, because the Eagles would have been corrupted, they would have went there while Saruman was still alive. So Sauron is still alive. And yeah, Sauron, not Saruman. Saruman's the other guy. Sauron is still alive. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. I feel like it was an afterthought by J.R.R. Tolkien, but you know, he thought of it and like, yeah, I'm gonna throw that in there just in case somebody question me on it. So I'll give a props for having that thought out. But yeah, 3 hours and 21 minutes long is like, it doesn't need to be that long, but also at the same time, it's a good thing that it's that long because it does lay everything out so you're not like questioning stuff. So it's, I've had mixed feelings about the length, and there's parts of the movie to me, I find it funny. For example, there's a scene where Sam and Frodo are getting into it about Smeagol and what he's doing, Gollum, about what he's doing to blame Sam in this movie. Gollum is making Sam like the bad guy to Frodo, and they get into it, and Frodo tells Sam, go home. Go home. And for some reason, this scene always stuck in my mind, even from 2014 when I watched it in college. Go home. I always thought he said go home Sam, but no, you just go home.
Go home.
And Sam breaks down and starts crying. And I'm like, Sam is a punk. Why he's crying? For what reason? And he does come back, and as Frodo leaves Sam in his little cry spot, curled up in a ball in a corner on a mountain. Sam does come back and save Frodo later on, but I'm just like, that does not make Sam look like a good, strong character. And the character development of Sam is in this movie where he just like, you know what, bump it. I'm going to go and rescue Frodo because we're friends. You're like, okay, cool. But the whole go home line to Sam and Sam break down in tears, I was like, I just died laughing at it, and I still laugh at it every time. And there's another scene where the king was telling everybody to abandon their posts. This is when Sauron's army about to take over the castle and the beginning of it, and Gandalf was getting ready to prepare for battle. The king was like, abandon your post, flee. Gandalf, the dude turns around and Gandalf just hits him in the face. No, he hits him in the gut first. Then hits him in the face and come on, prepare for battle, stand back up. And I was like, this movie's a comedy. That scene, I watched it 3 times in a row because it just cracked my stuff up. They was so, I love the actors. The actors in this movie, they was so invested in their characters that I feel like that scene was so over the top for no reason, but I loved it. I loved it. And I said this, once again, bringing Steve in the picture a lot in this one. I said this is a comedy, and he goes, Ali, you're wrong, and you should feel bad for saying it. And I was like, those 2 scenes cracked my stuff up. Hilarious to me. But the movie, the ending of this movie is phenomenal. I think the ending is done really, really well on how it shows what they go through, how the battle of the final end of the movie, how everybody stands up and, you know, fight for the very end, and Sam and Frodo completes the mission. And then talk like the aftermath of what each person is doing, so you don't have to worry about what happens next. The movie lays it out for you and close it like a book. Thought it was done pretty well. It takes a long time to get there, but I thought it was done pretty well. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get into, you know, directors, writers, cast, budget. The director of this movie is Peter Jackson. Visually, the movie looks nice. The colors, set piece, the costume design, like everything about this movie, the costume design, the animation, the CGI, the music's not that strong for me. The music doesn't hit strong, but it's fine. Everything about this movie is good to great. I would say that. So good job to Peter Jackson on the directing of the movie. The writers, J.R.R. Tolkien, this is his story, this is his novel based off his book. Budget of this movie. So the budget was $94 million, and they made worldwide $1.1 billion on this movie. So good for them. Good for them. Good for them. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the cast. Elijah Wood as Frodo. I feel like he did a good job. Like, his expressions, his reaction to certain things, thought was solid. Thought it was solid from the first two movies, still solid in this one. Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn. Thought he did a good job as well. Ian McKellen thought he did great. I would say this. I didn't realize this when I was watching this the second time for this review here, that Pippin and Merry are a pretty big part in the third movie. They're around a lot. For some reason, anytime I think of Lord of the Rings, I always think of Frodo and Sam. I never think of Pippin and Merry, and just me watching this game, I was like, wow, they're around a lot. Pippin, who played by Billy Boyd, and Merry, who played by Dominic Monaghan, thought they did a good job. Thought they both did a good job. Sam, who was played by Sean Ashton, thought he did great too. Legolas, who played by Orlando Bloom. I remember Legolas maybe because of his design, but he's not really, to me, doesn't have a bigger part. It's really like Aragorn and Gandalf. Legolas is more of a supporting character, but you know, I thought he did okay too. You also have Gimli, who is played by John Rhys Davies. Thought he did a good job as well. And Andy Serkis. Can't think about Andy Serkis, who plays Smeagol / Gollum. Thought Andy Serkis does a good job voice acting Smeagol and brings that character to life, so shout out to him. And the last guy I want to bring up is John Noble, who plays Denethor, Denethor. Sorry guys, some of my Lord of the Rings fans out there just screw his name up, but John Noble in that role cracked me up. He went above and beyond, and I loved it. Watching this the second or third time, just phenomenal. Love that character. He's like a comic book character in the movie Lord of the Rings. Loved it. Loved it. Any other thoughts for Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King? The music is okay. The movie score to me doesn't hit the hardest. I think it's fine. It fits the world it's in. It's not a soundtrack that I'm going to go play around when I'm like walking around town or driving. It's not a soundtrack that I'm going to have on the background. And CGI, I think CGI is great. I think it still holds up for the year 2003. And last but not least, this is a Friday night movie. Watch your friends and family. Yes, watch with your friends and family. You guys want to have like a, geek night or nerd night. Lord of the Rings is one of the movies you need to put on there. The Return of the King. Especially if everybody's seen the first two. Throw this one on there. You'll be good to go. Great time. I'm going to grade Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, I'm going to grade the movie a B+. It's a B+ for me. The reason why I think The Link to me really, it hit or miss for me. Like when stuff actually happened, like okay, great, but a lot of it's set up. When things hit the fan, you're like, okay, cool. And not even like action scenes, like scenes where Frodo and Sam are going at each other, and Sam breaks out in tears because Frodo's like, go home, which still cracks me up. But scenes like that get you invested in the characters, like, yes. Alright. If you guys seen Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, thank you guys for watching this episode. See you guys in the next episode movie breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episode of movie breakdowns or grind towards success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of movie breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of grind towards success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.